So Peter King has bounced around. Boy, he didn't waste any time. He went to the Niners, the Chiefs, the Broncos, and now he's at the Chargers. So he went to the best of the best. And he is joining us today. Okay, first of all, Deshaun Watson and the NFL, the NFLPA and the NFL have agreed on 11 games and a $5 million fine. One of the things that jumped out to me, Peter, they did not want Deshaun Watson playing against Tom Brady on national TV. Like, my takeaway was, you go play in Houston Week 13, we're not giving you a marquee football game when you come back. I honestly think Goodell thought about that. It's like, you hurt our brand enough. I'm not putting you on a field with Brady. That was my reaction why they extended there. What is your kind of takeaway on 11 games?
Well, first of all, the NFL's minimum that they wanted, that I was told earlier in the week, they wanted at least 12 games. They wanted a heavy fine. And they mandated in any settlement talks that they had with Watson's camp, they mandated that he undergo counseling. And so they got those things. They got a bigger fine than zero, which, with $5 million is, which will go to charity. Colin, look, everybody involved in this is going to be unhappy with something about this, okay? Women's groups are going to be unhappy that it's not a full season. Watson is going to be unhappy that it's anything. His people are going to be unhappy. So, look, nobody's going to be happy. But, as Paul Tagliabue famously was fond of saying, all's well that ends. This thing needed to end, and everybody's got to move on with their lives. So that's what this is about today.
Okay, so you only went to the really good camps and the fascinating one. Let's start with the Niners. The Ringer reported today that, listen, what we have reported on this show is, Trey Lance, a work in progress. He's only completed 100 pass attempts since 2020. What did you see? What did you hear? Because I think the roster and the coach are great. What did you see with Trey?
Look, I've written this a lot, Colin, since Trey Lance graduated from high school. He has thrown 389 passes in football games in 4 years. He's not ready right now, but unfortunately, Kyle Shanahan is going to game plan to his strengths, especially early in the season. He's not going to try to put too much on his plate. So to me, I think what you're going to see is Trey Lance, very conservative game plans.
Yeah.
They will want a great running game to help him out. They're not going to put too much pressure on him early. Talking to Shanahan Sunday in Santa Clara, he was very, very clear that he's the guy, he loves coaching him, and he's not going to put too much pressure on him.
Okay, let's talk Denver. You went to the Broncos camp. Boy, I wish you would have invited me. You went to all the camps I care about. All right, the Broncos camp. Now, they lose Tim Patrick, and Noah Fant's gone. I really like the GM. I cross my fingers on the coach. I think the O-line's much better than Seattle when he left. I've got real positive vibes on this. I think that the defensive, not just Randy Gregory, but getting the kid from the Niners on the interior of the D-line is sort of not getting the love because of Russell's addition. What did you see and what did you hear?
The most interesting thing about Denver camp is that every day players have to report at 8 a.m. And every day that they have a practice in training camp, Russell Wilson brings the 17 tight ends and wide receivers in at 7 a.m. And they have a walkthrough basically with Coach Russell Wilson. He's the only one in there, only authority figure. So that says to me that Nathaniel Hackett wants to build a partnership with Russell Wilson that he felt he didn't have in Seattle.
Pretty good. You went to the Chiefs. The thing, when I get to Kansas City, Andy Reid's too smart, Mahomes too talented not to work. But there is a reality of what the Chiefs were with Tyreek Hill, Peter, and that was the ability to score quickly, either over the top or on an 80-yard bubble screen. This receiving core doesn't feel like that. It doesn't mean they won't pick up yards and points, but I don't feel they'll be quite as able to come back quickly. Mahomes made a living off coming back 21 down quickly. What is your make on what you saw with the Chiefs?
They aren't going to be the explosive team that they were. McCole Hardman is going to have a chance. He's going to be able to run a lot of the same plays as Tyreek Hill did, but he's not Tyreek Hill. But I think when I came out of there, I sensed, Andy Reid told me, it's been 10 years. I got a little juice. And I think Andy Reid's excited about it. And look, here's the one other thing, Colin. The day I was there and I watched practice, remember how the Steelers would just take Juju Smith-Schuster and plant him in the slot?
Yeah.
I charted 27 plays. They had a very fast practice the day I was there. I charted 27 plays. I couldn't keep up with them all. And I charted 27 plays, and Juju was in the slot only 9 of those. So my point is that he's going to play all over the map. He's excited. This young Sky Moore from Western Michigan is going to play a role that's going to be really kind of different. And they don't really know what it is yet, but I think he's going to play all over the map. I'm not saying he's going to be Debo, but I am saying I do think you're going to see him in the backfield some. So I just think there's a lot of energy, especially because they know what the outside world is saying, that they will be diminished without Tyreek Hill.
So you're at the Dallas Cowboys, L.A. Chargers joint practices. I just was talking to Tom Telesco, the GM of the Chargers, yesterday. He likes these things. One of the things he said to me, I said, Tom, I wish there were more joint practices and fewer exhibition games. And he brought up a good point. He goes, in these joint practices, if we want to work on red zone offense for 12 straight plays, we can work on red zone offense against the Cowboys for 12 straight plays. So his feeling was, we'll get better of a team. We'll get better at our weaknesses much faster in a joint practice than we would in an exhibition game. Your thoughts on that?
Why do you think that Kyle Shanahan wanted Trey Lance to have 2 full practices against the Minnesota Vikings this week? Because it's much more important to Trey Lance to be able to practice on what they want him to practice on. The situations they need him to get better on. You can't guarantee any of that in a game. Plus, you never know who you're going to be playing in a game. Suppose Trey Lance comes out and plays, and Kevin O'Connell of the Vikings decides to play no starters on defense in the game. So what good is that? It's much better to be in Eagan, Minnesota at Vikings camp with orchestrating exactly how it goes. So to me, I think these are fantastic. And I think a guy like, you saw it yesterday. So the Cowboys were here yesterday, and Justin Herbert was upset with how he practiced, against Dallas. And so he went out afterwards and threw, I don't know, I'm guessing 75 balls because he wanted to get better at what he didn't do well. And then he voluntarily ran a bunch of sprints. It was like the self-flagellating Justin Herbert, wanting to say, I got to be better than that. So I think these kind of things help these teams.
Yeah. Peter King, by the way, we got a couple of minutes left. Did you go to any camps of teams that aren't Super Bowl potential teams? Did you go to any other camps? Or at this point in your career, you just go to the big boys?
No, I went to the Giants. They're not a Super Bowl contender.
There you go.
I went to Houston, and I went to Chicago.
Whoa.
So, I'm an equal opportunity visitor, Colin. It's all good. But I tried to go to teams where there was a lot of newness.
Yeah.
Like Lovie Smith. How do you not love Lovie Smith? He's just one of these guys. He loves football. He's a teacher. You go to the Giants. What did Joe Shane and Brian Daboll mean? What are they going to bring? Is it finally the Giants walking out of the desert that they've been in for almost a decade? And then, obviously the Bears, nobody knows really what to expect. Ryan Poles hired the only defensive guy in this cycle, Matt Eberflus. So there's a lot of fascinating stuff that happens in every camp.
Peter King, NBCSports.com, Chargers, Cowboys today. Good stuff, Peter. Great seeing you.
Thank you, Colin. You take care.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was talking to the Charger GM yesterday, and he goes, these joint practices, you can really say, hey, listen, our goal line defense needs a lot of work. You go to the other team and say, we want to work on the goal line defense. So I think it makes the teams better. And, especially if I had like a Trey Lance, I want to play the Vikings. I want to go in these practices, and I want him to play the entire practice. You're not going to do that in an exhibition game. So a lot of teams, a lot of sports have been slow, baseball especially, kind of reticent to change. NFL has always been just, let's go. I think the exhibition season, Sean McVay changed everything. Refused to play any of his good starters, any snaps. People said, you'll pay for it, and they start the season 8-0. I think McVay was the disruptor, and a lot of coaches said, what are we doing? And I think it'll get boiled down to 2 games. Everybody will get 1 home exhibition game, 1 gate. Then you'll go on the road, and it'll mostly be joint practices, which I think safer, players are better. And by the way, fans get to see them. These practices have thousands and thousands of fans. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.